Hey everyone, welcome to another deep dive. Today we're going to be looking at Dutch Bros stock.
Ooh, okay.
And, this was something that a listener sent in.
Okay.
And they were particularly curious about this idea of okay, if I invest $100,000 into Dutch Bros stock, BROS right now, could it make me a millionaire?
That's a good question.
Yeah, so...
And I'm curious about that, too.
Yeah.
Dutch Bros has been getting a lot of attention recently, especially with their stock jumping 28% after they had that really strong third quarter earnings report.
Wow!
They're even considered like the #2 coffee chain stock right now.
Oh,
only behind the giant Starbucks.
wow, that's impressive. Okay, so 28%, that's not, nothing to just brush aside. It
Yeah.
sounds like they're really on this upward trajectory.
Yeah.
But before we get too excited, let's talk about the source of this whole question.
Okay.
The Motley Fool.
Yeah.
From what I've seen, it seems like they're a pretty reputable source when it comes to financial stuff.
Yeah. They're really well known for making investing understandable,
Yeah,
which can be pretty hard sometimes.
for sure, especially when you're just getting into it and there's all these terms and stuff.
Right. Exactly.
So it seems like a solid source.
Yeah.
Now getting into Dutch Bros, this article mentions that they have this goal of reaching 4,000 stores
Uh-huh.
in the next 10 to 15 years.
Wow.
That's a huge jump from where they are now with their 950 stores across 18 states.
It is. It's a big difference. And it's interesting to compare that to the really big players in the coffee world.
Yeah.
Like Starbucks has over 16,000 locations in the U.S. alone, and Dunkin' Donuts has almost 10,000.
Wow.
So Dutch Bros definitely has a way to go to catch up.
Yeah, it sounds like they're this feisty, up-and-comer trying to really get up there with the big guys.
Yeah.
But what I thought was really interesting is their focus on the drive-thru model.
Yeah.
In a world where everybody is constantly busy and on the go, could this be their secret weapon?
That's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
In this post-pandemic world, convenience is such a big thing for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And Dutch Bros has really tapped into that. They've really capitalized on that with their drive-thrus.
Yeah.
I think I even read somewhere that their drive-thrus can actually make more money per square foot than a traditional Starbucks cafe.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing. That makes you think about, is that model just inherently more efficient and more profitable?
It could be.
And speaking of convenience, they've also been, really ramping up their mobile ordering system,
Uh-huh.
which now covers, 90% of their locations.
Oh, wow.
Is this, are they taking a page out of Starbucks' playbook?
It seems like Starbucks really changed the game with their app.
Yeah.
You know how people order coffee and Dutch Bros is being smart to follow that trend?
Yeah.
Mobile ordering, it just makes things so much faster.
Right.
Easier for the customers to get their coffee. And,
Yeah.
from the business side, it can lead to more orders.
Yeah.
Potentially bigger orders even.
Yeah, that makes sense. So they're playing this convenience game on all these different levels.
Yeah.
But let's not forget about the money part of it,
Right.
the financials. So this article mentions that Dutch Bros has a really strong average unit volume
Okay.
of $2 billion.
Wow.
Honestly, I don't fully know what that means, but it sounds impressive.
It is. It's basically a fancy way of saying how much money each store brings in
Okay.
on average.
Okay.
So for Dutch Bros,
Yeah.
that $2 billion average unit volume means that each of their stores is making an average of $2 billion a year.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, and that's actually way higher than the average for the industry.
So that points to
Yeah,
a pretty profitable model.
a potentially really profitable model.
Okay, so we've got this company, that's got this strong drive-through focus.
Yeah.
They've got this mobile ordering system that's growing super fast.
Uh-huh.
And these really impressive revenue numbers.
Yeah.
It sounds like they have a lot of potential for growth.
Right.
But the question is, can your $100,000
Yeah.
really turn into $1 million?
Well, to do that, Dutch Bros stock would need to grow tenfold.
10 times.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's a big jump. And their current market cap, which is the total value of all their shares, is around $7.5 billion.
Okay, so to reach that $1 million mark, they'd have to reach a market cap of $75 billion.
That's right.
Wow.
That's huge. And to give you an idea of what that means,
Yeah.
reaching a $75 billion market cap would mean that Dutch Bros would be aiming for a net income, which
Yeah.
is basically their profit,
Okay.
of around $3 billion.
Wow.
To put that in perspective, their current revenue, their total sales,
Yeah.
is only about half of that.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not just about growing, it's about growing exponentially.
Right.
So while those initial figures sounded really promising,
Yeah.
those are some pretty big goals to achieve.
Yeah, definitely a tall order, but, let's not jump to conclusions just yet. There's a lot more to think about
Yeah.
when it comes to their potential for growth. The competition,
Yeah.
the overall economic climate. And, the article itself even says to be cautious and think long term.
Right. We need to look at this from all angles.
Yeah.
So what else should we consider
Yeah.
before we decide if Dutch Bros can really, brew up those millionaire returns?
Right, exactly. Well, let's dig a little deeper into, the things that could affect whether Dutch Bros can actually hit that $3 billion net income goal.
Okay.
The article kind of hints that even with their plan of 4,000 stores, it might not even be enough.
Really?
They might have to grow even more than that.
Wow. So even with those big growth plans we're already talking about,
Yeah.
they might need to kick it up a notch.
Right.
So it seems like our listener reaching that $1 million really depends on Dutch Bros becoming a huge player in the coffee world.
It does. And that brings up a good point.
Yeah.
Can they actually become that big
Yeah.
in a market that's already so crowded?
That's true. I mean, it's not just Starbucks and Dunkin' they're up against.
Right.
There's so many other coffee shops out there.
Exactly. There's all those independent places.
Yeah.
The regional chains, even convenience stores are selling coffee now.
Yeah. You're right. It's a tough market.
Yeah.
And then you also have to think about, people's tastes changing.
Right.
And the economy.
Yeah, those are big factors.
Yeah.
What's popular one day might not be the next.
Yeah.
And things like inflation, interest rates, how much people are spending,
Yeah.
those can really affect a business,
Mm.
especially one like Dutch Bros. That's kind of a treat.
It's not like a necessity.
Right, exactly.
So it's not as simple as just opening a ton of stores.
No.
They have to stay ahead of the trends,
Yeah,
manage their money well. It's complicated.
it is. And that's why it's important to really think about all these things.
Yeah.
When you're looking at an investment,
Because,
there's always risk,
yeah.
especially with growth stocks like Dutch Bro.
Okay, so we've talked about some of the obstacles and the risks.
Yeah.
But let's not forget about the good stuff, too.
Right.
They have that drive-thru model that seems to be working really well.
Yeah.
They're growing their mobile ordering,
Yeah.
and their average unit volume is really strong.
Oh, those are all great points.
Those are all pluses, right?
Definitely, those are things that could really help them keep succeeding.
Yeah.
They've clearly figured out what people want when it comes to convenience.
Yeah.
And they're making good money, but the question is, can they keep this up?
Right.
Can they overcome those challenges and hit that $75 billion market cap?
Okay. So it sounds like there's potential,
Yeah,
but it's not a sure thing.
exactly. It's a balancing act between the good and the maybe not so good.
So let's go back to our listener's original question.
Yeah.
If you were in their shoes, would you invest $100,000 in Dutch Bros today, hoping to become a millionaire?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is.
And honestly, I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. It could be a really great opportunity.
Yeah.
But there are risks, too.
It seems like it all comes down to whether they can actually pull off their plans.
Yeah.
Stay ahead of the competition and adapt to all these changes that are happening.
Exactly. And,
It's a lot to think about.
it is. And I
Yeah.
think the main thing here is that any investment decision,
Yeah.
you have to really think it through. Do your research and be honest with yourself about how much risk you're comfortable with.
Right. Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Exactly. It's all about spreading your investments out.
Having a good mix.
Right. And having a long-term view.
Yeah.
Investing isn't about getting rich quick.
Yeah.
It's about making smart choices that will help you reach your financial goals over time.
Okay, so we've talked about the potential,
Yeah.
the risks, the complexities.
Oh.
Have we actually answered our listener's question?
Well, we've given them a lot to think about and a
Yeah.
lot of information to help them make their own decision.
Right.
At the end of the day, it's up to them.
Yeah, we've given them the tools they need to make a smart choice.
Yeah, and hopefully this deep dive has helped them really understand Dutch Bros better,
Yeah.
their potential for growth,
Yeah.
and the things that could affect their success.
And you know what I think is even more important is that it's made them curious
Yeah,
to learn more and do their own research.
absolutely. That's
Yeah.
so important. Knowledge is power.
Yeah, especially when it comes to investing. But before we wrap up,
Yeah.
anything else we should mention or any final thoughts?
While we've been talking about Dutch Bros, I've been thinking about
Yeah,
how much I like learning about all these different business models.
me too.
It's so interesting how companies try to find their place,
Yeah. Yeah.
in a market that's already so competitive.
Yeah, it's fascinating. And with Dutch Bros,
Yeah.
they've really gone all in on that drive-thru thing.
Right.
And they've built this like really unique brand.
Yeah, and I think that's a good lesson for our listener.
Yeah.
It's not just about the numbers. You know?
Right.
It's about understanding the company's story,
Yeah.
their strategy, how they set themselves apart.
Yeah, you want to invest in companies that have a clear vision, right?
Sure.
A solid plan and the ability to change with the times.
Yeah, you got to look beyond the surface and really dig into the details.
So for our listener who's wondering if Dutch Bros can turn their $100,000 into $1 million,
Yeah.
I think we've shown them that it's possible.
Yeah.
But it's not a guarantee.
Right.
They need to do their homework, weigh the risks, and decide if Dutch Bros is the right fit for them.
Exactly. It's all about making informed choices and feeling good about those choices.
And you never know.
Yeah.
Maybe with a little luck, that $100,000 could grow into something amazing.
Okay, so as we wrap up our deep dive into Dutch Bros, let's go over the main points again.
Yeah, so we started by talking about their stock going up so much,
Right.
their plans to open a ton of new stores,
Wow.
and their unique drive-through model.
Yeah, we look at their financials.
Yeah.
Talked about their potential for growth
Uh-huh.
and highlighted some of the challenges they might face.
We also talked about how important it is to do your research,
Absolutely.
understand who they're competing with,
Yeah.
and think about things like changing consumer tastes and the economy.
And in the end, we encouraged our listener to make their own decision
Yeah.
based on their own risk tolerance and what they're hoping to achieve with their investments.
So as you keep learning about investing, remember knowledge is key.
Absolutely.
Stay curious, stay informed, and never be afraid to ask questions.
And hey, maybe grab a cup of coffee while you're at it.
Yeah.
Caffeine is good for making smart investment decisions.
An insightful deep dive.
Exactly. Until next time, happy investing, everyone.
See ya.